views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Community Board 12's meeting for May 25th, 2017 at 7:30 at 4101 White Plains Road. Those who wish to stand with me and salute our flag, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For all of you that would wish to remain standing, to acknowledge our cousins in the UK who had such a terrific incident the other day. I believe the last meeting we also had to acknowledge a significant event that occurred, and we just want to give them a moment of silence for the families that lost their loved ones and for the government that has to respond to that. Okay, thank you. You may be seated. Okay, thank you everybody for coming to our community board. I think we're going to have a quorum tonight, but the weather's going to get very, very nasty very quickly, so I'm going to try to get our business done, as they say, rapidly. So we're going to continue to move. We have a presentation by Dr. Burke, and is Dr. Burke here? Okay, Dr. Burke is here. All right, Dr. Burke. All right, so we'll start with our presentation by Dr. Burke. Okay. Okay. All right, you guys can kind of sit to the side if you want to. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so while we're getting the screen up, I want to thank the board for allowing me to give this talk. And as I said before, this talk is about Shoelace Park, and obviously it would have been fitting to give it last month, but we had so much going on at the time that, quite frankly, we couldn't get it in. So I'm going to give it this month. So we want to talk about Shoelace Park, its history, its current trends, and its future legacies. So I would like to, again, thank you, board, for allowing me to present this, as well as to the community at large. And hopefully you will learn something about the history that we have here in our very borough of the Bronx. And so the way that I plan on presenting this to you is, first and foremost, I plan on giving you a community needs assessment for those of you that aren't aware of some of the things that's happened in relation to trying to get this master plan up and running. And then I'm going to talk about the relationship between Shoelace Park and the Bronx River Parkway and the synergism that each entity has amongst itself. Then I'm going to give you a brief history of the Bronx River Parkway and Shoelace Park, and then we're going to talk about the current state of the park. Next, we're going to introduce the Greenway Master Plan for those of you that are not familiar with the Shoelace Park Greenway Master Plan. Then we're going to talk about what would be the benefits to this master plan, which will be quite plentiful, as you will see in the coming slides. And then, of course, what are the impediments to the master plan? And last but not least, the recommendations which were already made at the previous meeting, as well as the future legacy and acknowledgments. So in looking at our community needs assessment, we had two scoping meetings that took place. One was in October of last year, and one was in February of this year, which was fairly recently. And so I have outlined 10 points that you see here that the community really said that they really wanted with any sort of renovations to the park. So I'm gonna go through this relatively quickly. Improved green space and more defined places to rest were two of the main articles that the residents really said that they wanted. Another thing that the residents said that they wanted was reduce ATV traffic. So I don't know for those of you that use Shoelace Park, but if you use the park and if you notice on the Bronx River roadbed, you may or may not see ATVs run through there relatively regularly. And that can be problematic, especially if you have kids or if you're trying to walk through the park and so forth and so on. So to that end, the residents also stated that they wanted more defined bike lanes and walking trails in addition to improved lighting and improved security. And I'm going to talk about these two items a little bit later on in the talk. Better playground equipment and a barbecue area. Now, for those of you, whether you were in the community or whether you were on the board that were in any of those scoping meetings, you know that the barbecue area was a major point of contention because right now Shoelace Park is a non-barbecue park. Okay, so the fact that the residents stated that they wanted a barbecue area was pretty contentious in these meetings, but nonetheless, it was a request. But more importantly, one of the things that the residents asked was that we reduce the flooding in the lower basin of Shoelace Park. So if you have a day like today where it's been rainy all day, if you may notice, if you go to the lower basin of Shoelace Park, it is flooded, okay? And so we need to be able to reduce this for a number of reasons, and last but not least, more entrances into the park itself. So what I want to do now is tell you about Shoelace Park and why it's significant, in particular here in the Bronx. So Shoelace Park sits within the Bronx River watershed. Now, this particular watershed is fed by rivers and streams from both Bronx County as well as Westchester County. But what's unique about the Bronx River in this particular case is it runs throughout the length of Shoelace Park from 211th Street up into 233rd Street. But what's unique about our river, the Bronx River, is that it is the only freshwater river in all of New York City. So it is not the Hudson, it is not the East River. So we have this jewel right here in our own backyard, all right? So it is the only freshwater river in all of New York City, all right? Another thing that's unique about Shoelace Park is that the original footprint of the Bronx River Parkway actually runs through Shoelace Park, okay, which is pretty unique in and of itself. And for those residents that knows this, the Bronx River was actually altered to its present state now due to the construction of Metro North as well as the current Bronx River Parkway that exists now. So what I want to show you again quickly is what I want to show you again quickly is the footprint of the old original Bronx River Parkway. And so as you can see, this distance from this corner to this corner is 40 feet in length. And I want to show you this on the left side as well as the right side. But what I want you to notice is a couple of things. So it's 40 feet in width, so it's not very wide for cars to pass through it. And that was done by design when it was designed back in the late 1918s to 1920s. But what you also notice is that you see a lot of oak trees. If you notice, it's spaced. Every so often you see an oak tree spaced. And I'm going to tell you why that is in a second. So this particular area is from 211th Street, and this particular area on the right side is where the S-curve is, which is a little bit north of 216th Street. And what I also want you to point out to you is this little area right here that you can see that's covered in the asphalt. When this was originally built, this was actually a picketed fence, okay? So why was it a picketed fence and so forth? I'm going to get into that right now. So just to give you a brief history of the Bronx River Parkway itself, in 1895, the New York State Legislature actually led a project to approve the feasibility study to develop a parkway, okay, and that's adjacent to the Bronx River. And part of this was twofold. It was park development as well as an environmental recovery effort. So what happened is back then, you had people that were living upon the buttresses of the banks of the Bronx River. And what wound up happening was you had those outhouses that were in back of the people's houses. And so they were literally at that time taking waste, dumping it into the Bronx River. Well, you also had industry a little bit further down that was utilizing the Bronx River, and likewise, they were dumping their waste into the Bronx River as well. So what wound up happening was you wound up having an environmental catastrophe that was taking place around the turn of the century. And so one of the reasons that New York State want to carry this out was a twofold effort. A, they want to clean up the river itself because the wildlife was dying off, but more importantly, they wanted to have a parkway or recreational area for the residents moving forward. So I'm actually gonna skip a little bit of this for time's sake, and I wanna get to 1925. So 1925, the Bronx River Parkway was officially completed and dedicated. And it served from 1925 until 1950. And in 1950, the Bronx River Parkway was moved. So south of Bronxville, it was actually relocated 300 feet to the west of the Bronx River. It was then widened to 6 lanes. And last but not least, it was extended to its current location, which of course goes down to Bruckner Boulevard, okay? So this happened in 1950. Now, this is gonna be unique as it relates to Shoelace Park, and what I had for you here was a schematic of the original Bronx River Parkway, and this was dated 1918, and you really can't see it here as such, but what I want you to notice is one thing. If you notice in all of my slides, I have a reference, so you can either look at each reference, or if you want, after my presentation, I can make sure that you get a copy of the slides, and you can go look it up for yourself. But everything that I'm saying to you, you can go and you can look it up. So what I want to show you quickly is just the parkway in its early development and use. So this is the S-curve that I showed you earlier, but this is around 1918 before it was developed. And again, for brevity's sake, I'm going to move to the picture on the right. So this is a little bit south of Gun Hill Road. Okay, so this is the actual Bronx River Parkway, and this is in 1922, and as you can see this little, I don't know if you could really make it out here, but this is the picketed fence that I was telling you about earlier. And again, just some other pictures of the Bronx River Parkway. Again, this is, again, around the S-curve, so this is around 216th, 217th Street, where it stands today. But again, you can see the old cars, and you can see this architecture right here that was designed by Charles Stoughton. And again, this is a little bit south of Gun Hill Road. And if you actually walk into the Botanical Gardens area, you can actually see this architecture. In fact, I was walking this on Sunday. That's still in existence today. So again, I know I rushed through that kind of quickly, but again, you know, the board tells me that brevity is key. So I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. But some things that I want to point out to you that's very, very important about what we have in Shoelace, and this is the old riverbed to the Bronx River Parkway. So I don't know if you knew this or not, but the Bronx River Parkway was actually the first parkway in the United States that was designed for automobile use, okay? And it was also the first highway or parkway to boast the following accomplishments: to A, use a medium strip, B, be constructed through a park, and more importantly, C, it was planned where the intersecting streets cross over bridges, and in fact, you can see that now, even in today's architecture. So, as with anything, it was actually outdated before it was even dedicated. And the rationale was because, as I said before, the way that when this was designed, it was envisioned as a parkway. And if you notice, especially in Westchester County, where the original Bronx River Parkway still stands, you still have a lot of green space that's off to the side of the Bronx River Parkway. If you've ever taken that north, and if you've noticed that, you'll see the river is winding, and you can see, again, plenty of green space. And again, we had the same thing here in the Bronx at that particular one time. But as with anything, progress happens. So with the greater than expected volume, then of course, New York City, New York State had to look for other avenues, and thus that's when we came up with the Hutchinson River Parkway, the Merritt, and the Sawmill Parkway. So what I'm gonna do is quickly go through the history of Shoelace Park, very quickly. So I'm gonna kind of sort of skip this and get to the important stuff. So pretty much in 1895, anything that was west of the Bronx River, that was east of the Bronx River, and of course south of Yonkers was ceded to New York. So at one point, this was Westchester County, but in 1895, that ceased to exist, okay? Now, if you also remember me telling you in a previous slide that in 1950, the Bronx River Parkway is at its current location now, okay? So the question then becomes, what happened to the roadbed that's now residing in Shoelace Park? So that particular area was actually used as a parking lot for the residents that lived right off of Bronx Boulevard at that particular time. And so the roadbed was not kept, and obviously, as with anything that's neglected, it begins to deteriorate. And for those of you that may have been around during that time, you may very well know that the kids actually used this as their own personal playground between 1950 and 1960. So in 1960, the Bronx Borough president, along with Parks and Recreation, decided that not only should that roadbed be kept, but that the entire area be developed. So in 1973, Shoelace Park was officially dedicated. In fact, it was officially dedicated on July the 7th, to be exact, okay? And in 1974, Ruth Anderberg and other community activists actually started a group called the Bronx River Restoration Project. And this is, again, very, very important because just like what happened in the late 1800s, the Bronx River Parkway had then run afoul again of environmental catastrophe. So for those of you that were in New York at that time, you know that refrigerators were in the Bronx River. At that particular time, there was a statue that fell into the river, and quite frankly, it was a mess. And so she started an effort to restore the Bronx River. But what she also did was she and her group actually laid out the very first template for a Greenway master plan, okay? Now, unfortunately, this template did not get funded because in 1980, they actually approached the New York State Senate for funding. But as for those of you that were alive at that time, you remember that we were in a recession. Okay, so Jimmy Carter was president, and unfortunately, as you know, he got voted out because, of course, we were in a recession, and we also had the Iran hostage crisis going on at that particular time. And so New York State didn't find it necessary to fund it at that time. However, that particular Greenway was tabled, and the Bronx River Restoration Project in 2001 became the Bronx River Alliance, okay? So the Bronx River Alliance in 2009 actually started looking at that template that was tabled a couple of years earlier, and in 2010 came with the current master plan. So let me just quickly go through the current state of the park. And as many of you that have used Shoelace Park, you know that it's decrepit, okay? The infrastructure is decrepit. Right here, what you see is a picture of the entryway on 216th Street. You can see that the entryway and the walking paths are worn. The play equipment is worn, and in some cases, the comfort stations are inoperable, okay? And as I've stated to you at the very beginning, is that it is prone to the lower part of the flood basin in Shoelace Park is actually prone to flooding, especially on a day like today. The thing that's the most important travesty, of course, is the desecration of the historical artifacts. And in particular, I'm going to show you that in a little bit. And as many of you well know, it is unsafe after hours, and I need not remind you of what happened in October of last year that obviously made the news here in New York. Residents have complained of lewd behavior, fighting, as well as sexual assault that's occurring. So again, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, but for those of you that have been in Shoelace Park, you've seen it, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the equipment. And again, but what I will show you again, this is one of the historical artifacts. So this architecture was designed by Charles Starton, and at a particular time, I think he's buried in Woodlawn, but at that particular time, he was a major architect, not only in New York City, but he was known around the world. And in fact, you can't see his name inscribed, but it's actually inscribed right here, but you can't see it because it's been painted over with graffiti, okay? And so this is what I'm telling you when I'm talking about, and if you can look right here, this actually says BRPR, which is Bronx River Parkway Restoration, okay? I mean, excuse me, Bronx River Parkway Reservation, which was the actual project that was used for this. Okay, but again, as I said, you may not be able to see that because of all the graffiti. Now, this is a really travesty. So this was actually erected in 1918, but as you can see before, this is all a part of Shoelace Park, which has been desecrated. So for those of you that have seen this is actually the Greenway Master Plan that was relaunched in 2010, okay? And as you can see, you can actually look this up on the architect's website. And again, I'm gonna go through this relatively quickly, but I'm just gonna go through what the master plan was designed to do. So this master plan was developed as a living document, and it was designed to do two things. It was designed to engage the community residents, and it was designed to engage elected officials to improve the health of the Bronx River, okay? That's what this master plan was designed to do. And so the recommendations from the master plan really had a threefold outlook. It wanted to outlook for the ecology of the river. It wanted to preserve the history of the neighborhood and of the Bronx River roadbed. And more importantly, it wanted to involve the community. How it involved the community was very significant because it used two groups of residents. It used a youth design team as well as park patrons, which of course are the people in this room, and the board itself, as well as letters of support from elected officials. So what you have in this slide right here is you have a picture of the youth design team. And again, I don't know if you can see the actual Bronx River coming through here, but this is actually Shoelace Park, okay? And what these youth design teams, and these are little post-it notes that they were adding. So what they were doing is they were writing their ideas out, what they want to see in the master plan, and they wrote it out. And again, like I said, the organizers and the architects took that into consideration. And again, you can see Judy Hudson here and some of our people from Community Board 12 and the residents as well. And again, they were coming through as well, making this happen. And this is, again, is a schematic of the master plan that they came up with. And again, as I said before, all of this is available online for you. What I want to show you is this particular area right here. If you notice now, the play area, instead of the lower basin, it has now been raised to the upper basin. And as you can also see, we have a lot of trees that's been planted in the lower basin, and that's been done for a reason. And more importantly, of course, if you remember, I showed you at the very beginning the old roadbed of the Bronx River Parkway. If you can notice now, that's actually been redesigned, it's been kept, and we now have the bike lanes as well as the walking lanes, okay? So the question is, will the beauty of the roadbed be affected? The answer is no. And the reason is because, again, this was a grant that was done in 2012, so you have a partial revitalization of this roadbed, and as you can see, the bioswale was added. It added beauty to the parkway itself, and again, it looks good. So what are some of the benefits from this master plan? So again, it addresses most of the community concerns, and I'm not gonna read all of this again for time's sake, but more importantly, this master plan actually aligned with the borough president's vision of improving health outcomes. And the reason it does this, of course, is the more trees that you plant, obviously the more CO2 you can sequester, you can actually then produce more oxygen, and of course, you can actually bring down rates of asthma. So it's very, very beneficial for that. And again, I'm gonna skip the rest of this for time's sake, but the one thing that I do need to point out, of course, is that the Friends of Shoelace Park was actually created because of this. Again, there were impediments to the master plan which were well documented at the meeting last month, so I'm not gonna get into that per se. But as I said before, it was well documented, so we're not going to go into the impediments. But these are just some of the impediments that arisen as a result of this master plan. But as you also know, the recommendations, so again, we'd approved it at the board meeting last month, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because we'd already approved it. And I guess what I want to show you was wildlife coming back. And last but not least, ask a question. What did we want as a legacy? Did we want something like this, or did we want something like this? And we as a board voted obviously for something like this. And so again, I'm gonna skip this, and my last slide is so. So I want to thank a lot of people, and in particular, I need to really thank the elected officials. So Congressman Elliot Engel and former State Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson for writing letters of support, as well as Assemblyman Jeff Denowitz, Borough President Ruma Diaz, and Councilmember Andy King for donating monies to this project. In particular, I'd like to thank all these people here, the Commissioner of the New York City Bronx Borough Parks and Recreation, as well as the Bronx River Alliance. I'd like to thank Mr. Torres, our district manager, for helping, as well as Ivan Boris and Carla Brasati for letting me pepper the Parks Department with all these questions in regards to Shoelace Park. And at this particular point, I would like to stop. Thank you for your time and thank you for your attention, and thank my board members. Hopefully you learned something. If you didn't, then, you know, I'll be more than happy to educate you a little bit later on. But nonetheless, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'll be right here. I will make the slides available to the district manager, and he's somewhere around here. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Where does this microphone go? Okay. All right. Okay, again, thank you, Dr. Burke. Very comprehensive presentation. We're going to move ahead in the interest of time. What I'm going to move towards now is the approval of the minutes for March 23rd and April 27th. So have you guys reviewed? Okay, we have a question on the, all right, point of question? Yes. That's her. Are you Ms. Coleman? We have it. We have it, and we made the adjustment. Okay? Okay, see, we're on top of it. Okay, so again, I'm requesting approval for the minutes for both the 23rd and April 27th, March 23rd and April 27th.
I make a motion, we accept both minutes with any necessary corrections to be made at a later time.
Okay, call, seconded by Robert Hall. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, we're going to go to good and welfare now. Oh, do we have to call a roll on this? Okay, I didn't. Okay, all right, we're going to call a roll on it. Okay. Those who, gotta call a roll. Those who, a yea vote is accepting the minutes. Okay. Can you give you a voting sheet? Okay, you need a microphone, Carmen? Need the list. Okay, can you give us that list? Yeah, yeah. Did everybody sign in? Okay. Okay. All right, we're voting on the minutes now for both the 23rd and the 27th. Okay. Okay, Carmen. Okay.
Franklin Alapo? He's not here. Okay. Benitez Judith? Aye. Bennett Iguiria? Not here? Yes, she's here. Bennett Iguiria, are you voting for the minutes? Then who signed her? Okay. Never mind. Okay. It's okay. Not present. Somebody signed it. Okay. Hazel Berry? Not here. Hillary Bloomfield? Aye. Boris Ivan?
Aye.
Bersorti Carla? Aye. Brown Ellen Marlene? Victor Brown? Not here. Deacon Edward Brown? Brian Norbit? Aye. Burke, Dr. Burke? I agree. Campbell Sadie? Aye. Christian Evelyn? Aye. Clark Gale? Not here. Joan Claude? Aye. Coleman Bernicia? Aye. Dickerson Tolene? Aye. Eastman Laura, Evans Raymond, Figueroa Alfredo, Gibson LeGrand Barbara, Johnny Guelph, Green Chantel, Robert Hall, William Hall, Hayes Lisa Hayes, not here. Horton April, not here. Isaac John, James Theodore, Lanzano Carl, Martin Lucille, not here. Mary McLeod, not here. McNeil Walter, Angela Moore, not here. Mike Clinton, Ortiz Carmen, aye. Porter Frank, Powell Claudia, Reed Anthony, Dr. Dina Robbins, Felix Roldan, Salki Icy May Thomas, Strickler Carl, Nicole Weir, and Norma Viles. Okay. Okay, the ayes have it? Yeah.
Okay, the ayes have it.
This is for both, right?
It's for both, yeah. We're both voting for both at the same time. And our minutes have been approved. Okay. All right, we're going to go to good and welfare. Please be brief, because we're trying to beat the storm tonight, which is on its way. I think we're going to give him 3 minutes. Is that right, Second Vice Chair? 3 minutes? 3 minutes. And again, I request that you brevity and microphone. And again, I'm requesting you turn down all your cell phones, both members of the community and board members. Okay. I'll turn it over to first and second vice chair.
Okay, our first speaker on the Community Speaks is Chris Broman from TGIF. How you doing, Chris?
Good. How are you, sir?
Very well. Food still good there?
Okay, I want to thank you, board, for the time to come in, the members of the community. My name is Chris Bowman. I'm the general manager of the TGI Fridays on East Gun Hill Road. I'm sure most of us have seen or know about the location. I wanted to talk to the board and the community to let you know that at Fridays we are want to be closer to the community. We have a program called Benefit Nights. It is a system where you can set up an evening and 20% of the food purchases go towards your cause. Now, the qualifying things for that are basically to have a tax ID number. It doesn't have to be a charity. It can be a school. It can be to raise money for pretty much anything. We've been trying to reach out through some of the board members that do come to the restaurant and some of the community members that frequent our establishment. And I thought it was important to be here tonight to let more people know and to get the word out that we are there, that we will, do what we can. This past Easter, we had a Easter bunny come in. We had an Easter egg hunt for the kids, trying to make more awareness of that. We did a little Santa Claus and elf thing around the Christmas time to try to make more awareness of what we have for the community at large. So that was basically my purpose of being here tonight. I want to thank you for your time and let you know that no matter what the cause, we can raise money for you guys. We also make flyers for the event. We can help you with those kind of things, printing them and all those kind of things, getting the word out. We recently did a benefit night for a local Bronx charter school. It was a pretty good turnout. They're going to be receiving approximately about a $400 or $500 check just from that one night. They had quite a few people come in. So I just wanted to be here, say thank you to the community for allowing us to be in the community, number one, and to invite you guys to come in, and anything we can do for you, we are interested in doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. The next speaker is Melody Williams, Bronx NHS.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'll try to be brief. My name is Melody Williams, and I work for the Bronx Neighborhood Housing Services, which is a nonprofit organization that's been in operation for over 35 years. And what we do is we help first-time home buyers and existing homeowners with home ownership services. We provide various programs and services to assist New York City residents across the 5 boroughs with either preserving their home or buying a home for the first time. If you're a first-time home buyer, we offer 3 different programs. We offer an orientation program, which basically introduces you to all of the resources that we provide to the community and informs you about the different courses that we have and different options that you have as a homeowner or first-time home buyer. We also offer a home buyer's education course for people who are looking to buy a home short-term within the next 4 to 7 months. We basically invite you to come in. You can come into our office. We're located at 1451 East Gun Hill Road. If you have your phone out, I would advise you to take down our number. Our number is 718-881-1180. We also have a lot of exciting events coming up. Our next orientation will be on June 17th, which is a Tuesday, I believe, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we have a housing fair coming up on July 8th, which is free to the general public. You can come to the fair. You can meet lenders, meet real estate brokers and agents, and various other industry professionals who can advise you about steps that you would want to take in the process of buying a home for the first time. It will also give you an opportunity to learn more about our organization and the different programs that we offer. So again, I invite you to give us a call, 718-881-1180, or drop by our office at 1451 East Gun Hill Road to learn more about our programs. Our website, if you're interested in visiting, is www.bronxnhs.org.
Ms. Williams, the chair has a question for you, please.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for coming to the board and sharing that information with us. Are most of the homes within our board area, or is this a citywide program?
It's a citywide program. However, there are different divisions within the NHS. We primarily work with residents within the North Bronx, but there are other branches that work with people, for instance, in the South Bronx. And we focus on the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Queens low to middle income communities.
So the members of our community that come to your office on Gun Hill Road, it'll be primarily those looking for a home in the Bronx, or can somebody come?
It can be within the okay. Any of the 5 boroughs.
All right,
yes.
thank you. Mm-hmm. And if you have a card, we'd like to
sure.
like you to give us a card. Yes, we have a question. Ms. Coleman? Ms. Coleman? Does it work?
Assistance with tax liens? No, not at this time, but we do offer free tax preparation to anyone who's looking for that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Our next speaker is Frank Saltamaya from the Wakefield. I'm sorry, I murder your name every time I call you.
You're like in Supreme Court Justice Sotomayor.
Okay, thank you.
See, I got 3 things I wanted to cover tonight, and one of them is the catch basins in the area of Wakefield. They're spilling over with garbage, and when it rains, all of the water accumulates there, so it's clogged up so the water can't go out. And what I'm asking the board is for help in getting DEP to come out and clean most of those, because it's not just my area. It's pretty much, if you look around, it's pretty much Wakefield. That you look down in the drain and you see it's all clogged up. And that's one thing. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about is those people that are eligible to vote in the 47th Precinct Community Council. The meeting is going to be on 6/14. And that's where they're going to elect the officials for the board. And what I'm asking people is, if you're eligible to vote, to please come out and vote for whoever you think you want to represent you in that in the council. And the next one is the NCO program. The NCO program is the Neighborhood Coordination Officers. It was a pilot here in Brooklyn and also here in the Bronx. Now I believe it's all going New York, all throughout New York City. And what I want to express is if you have any problems, any kind of problems, because I talk to these officers and they tell me that it doesn't matter what problems you have, you call 311, you lodge your complaint, and then you give them a call or you send them an email stating what your problem is, and they will be able to help you. Now, the NCOs for our area, which mine is like Bronx Boulevard, 241st, 242nd, but I think it takes in Woodlawn and up to White Plains Road. And what you can do there is, let me just look at my notes here for a second. Yeah, you can get in touch with Police Officer Boslin, and his cell number is 917-943-7881. Or you can email them at robert.boslin, that's B-O-S-L-A-N-D, at newyorkpd.org. And his partner is Police Officer Brian Mallow, and his cell phone number is 917-943-7834. His email address is brian.mallow, that's M-A-L-L-O-W, at nypd.org, O-R-G. Okay, that's all I have for now, but the main things here were those two, the election of the 47th Precinct Board and the Neighborhood Coordination Officers Program. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Sotomayor, one question on your first point on the catch basins.
Yeah.
Were you emphasizing Bronx Boulevard in that area when you were
Not just Bronx Boulevard, all of the area.
But what area were you specifically when you first mentioned?
Well, I mentioned my area,
Which area? That's what I'm trying
which
to
is
do.
between 241st, 242nd.
Is that in the Bronx Boulevard area?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I just
Okay.
wanted to make that distinction. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We have a question? Frank. Frank, we have a question for you.
You said that there's going to be elections for the 47th Precinct Council, and you said that if you're eligible, what are the eligibility requirements for voting and for running for that position?
Well, as I understand it, is they have a log. Every time you go in there, you have to sign in that particular log. You have to have at least 4 entries in those logs. If you do not, you're not eligible to vote. And the people are elected from that list that they come up with. Okay, people will call up, or rather, people will come in and they'll nominate somebody. And then, of course, it's approved or whatnot. And then on June 14th, there'll be the election. Does that answer your question? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Lucille Bowles Wilson.
Good evening, Community Board members and members of the audience. I previously came here today for United Christian Baptist Church because one of the deacons there had a question for me to submit to the board about a bumper that he needed for the block. But unfortunately, I don't see him in the audience. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the information, I'm going to have a letter drawn and type it up and give it to your manager. However, yesterday I was at Hostos College, and I attended a presentation that was given by the New York State Opportunity, New York City Regional Economical Development Corporation. And at that time, they told us to spread the word, so I'm spreading the word. I'm going to try to be brief. The governor has $800 million in resources that he wants to hand out to various organizations, okay? I met with, or I have business cards from the people. I have a flyer here that in order to learn how to process or put your application together, you have to attend this workshop. I apologize for not having the copies because I didn't think I was going to speak about it. But then since they said to spread the word, they're looking for women minority organization. They're looking for art, history, housing, everything. I will type up these notes. I will submit them to Ursula, to the board, and to every organization in the northeast section of the Bronx that I have a business card for. So if you would like for me to submit this and give you the paperwork that I received yesterday, I suggest you give me your business card, okay? It's a lot of money out there. They have projects, they have criterias, okay? And they want to hand out the money, and they also want to hand out jobs. And the only thing I want to also mention is that they did say that the Bronx unemployment rate went from 15% down to 5%. So we are doing a good job. But there are a lot of people out there that need jobs. We need to get them off the street, get them working, whether it's trade, business, or otherwise. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker is Sean Doherty.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As a veteran, I would like to say I greatly respect this process, and I deeply appreciate this opportunity to speak here this evening. I am a surviving victim of child sex abuse from when I was 10 years old in my home diocese in Western Pennsylvania. I now I own a business and operate a business here in New York. I am an advocate in Pennsylvania and in New York for survivors of child sex abuse. I'm not here to beat up on the church that my mother still to this day faithfully serves and has faithfully served since longer than I've been alive. I'm number 8 of 9 children. I'm here representing a group called Lawyers Helping Survivors of Child Sex Abuse to make this community aware that the New York Catholic Diocese is offering a reconciliation program that has an expiration date for registration of July 31st. And I encourage any survivor that is seeking help to just begin the process, register. It does not mean accepting anything, it just means registering for those of us on the outside looking in to hopefully move this forward. I encourage everybody to visit the website childsexabuse.org and really just to let you know that, I greatly appreciate this opportunity, and it's community-based conversations like this that really help get it out in the open and really help surviving victims like me heal. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Okay, the next speaker is Pamela Hamilton Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pamela Hamilton Johnson, and I'm here to thank the board for voting for the funding for Shoelace Park. I'm grateful that you did that. A lot of work had gone into it, and for a moment I thought it was going to get sidelined, but it did not. You did the right thing. So when you do right, I want to say, job well done. The second thing is the Baychester Square Mall. Now, I know you voted against it, and you have every right to do that, and I respect that.
No.
I'm sorry for it. I'm sorry for it, and I respect that. I totally 100% disagree with it, and I noticed that it was not a unanimous vote on this board. Now, on May 10th, they went to the planning board. No one that was on this board that voted for it, voted for it, was there to even talk about it at the planning board, but I went. And so some of the things that came out was, and several people, residential people spoke about it, about the air pollution, the additional trucks in the community, increased traffic, and additional noise. The fact that we have a CEC 11 in this district, and we have overcrowding in our schools, kids who are still in trailers that need a place in the building. It's a shame that that mall could not accommodate, or it was said that it could not accommodate, an educational facility for our youth in the community. It was also brought up about why can't we have an entertainment place there? We go out of our community to go to New Rock City and to other places. Why couldn't we have an entertainment center there? According to their plan, they said that they were going to make money by the spillage of Ridge Hill. Now, that was $1.7 billion from spillage from Ridge Hill. Ridge Hill is not at its full capacity. Ridge Hill is still building. Ridge Hill just built a Lowe's. So the numbers for that is a little bit skewed. And one of the things that they did, they talked about vacancies and at Bay Plaza. They said that there's about a 2% vacancy. At the hearing, the owner of Bay Plaza Mall came and he said there is a 12% vacancy rate at the Bay Plaza Mall. What does that mean? That means that there is over 200,000 square feet of retail space that is vacant in Bay Plaza, but yet we want to build another mall. And I totally don't understand it. Across the country, even from 2 years ago, failing malls have gone from 10% to 15%. Most people are buying online. Even when the developer spoke, which I did not know, that Councilman King had designed a wall for the mall. I didn't know he was a part of the design team. So when we talk about retail space, we're talking about minimum wage jobs. Why do we need more minimum wage jobs? We need jobs in this community that are meaningful and that people can make a decent wage. At that hearing, there was an organization, Speak Up for a Better Bronx, and they brought in 64,000 signatures from the community against it. One of the things that I brought up was that the developer did not, even though it is not in Community Board 10 and Community Board 11, they did not engage those community boards. They are outraged. There was a time when we were brothers and sisters in different community boards. If you remember correctly, for those who are already on the board, when Community Board 10 did not like the design for the City Island Bridge, they came to us. We joined with them. We understood them. They said, we don't want the design. The city said it's going to take 10 years to get it again. They said we don't want it, and what we did, we said we didn't want it. So in closing, I'm sorry that we could not work together from one community board to another, but I want you never to forget that there is a MTA train station that they're getting ready to build in Co-op City. So that increased traffic from Westchester, from Connecticut coming down is going to add to the traffic nightmare. Thank you.
Pam, I just want to respond. First of all, our borough president did support the project, so we're happy about that. In addition, it's not a done deal. We still have influence over modification of that project. So the community board and the members of our community are going to continue to have influence and continue to modify that project. So it's not a done deal. I just want to say that. So we'll just in defense of our vote. Okay? All right. Ms. Bloomfield and Ms. Gibson.
Good evening, Pamela Johnson. I want you to know that I was at the meeting with you, and I made a statement about we would like to have a project for our children also.
At the planning board on May 10th?
Yes, I was there.
Okay. I'm corrected. No, I'm not talking, I'm talking about the planning board downtown on Reed Street. That's what I'm talking about.
No, I was not.
Yeah, I know.
But you and I was at the other one at the mayor's office.
Yes, we did attend that together. And I just want to say.
I should say the borough president office.
Yes, that is correct. But that wasn't, I'm talking about the planning board that makes the decisions. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm sorry that I didn't know. I would have joined you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I just want to say I also have the petition. If you want to sign, you can. I have it.
Oh, come on. What, is it on? Am I one on? Okay. Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
From my understanding that Councilman Andy King did not state that he wanted a mall there in that area. Councilman Andy King had asked about having a school built over there.
I never said that.
You just
I said he
it.
designed the wall. That's what I said. Let's be clear. He designed the wall. That's what I said.
What's the wall? What's the wall?
That's what the
mall?
developer, I'm only repeating what the developer said, that he met with him, and prior to the vote, this is prior to the vote here, that he met with him and he designed a wall in that mall. Oh, yeah.
Okay, it was mall. It was wall. It was wall. I heard it.
Yeah,
it was
I
wall.
said wall.
All right. Okay, thanks. Thank you, folks. Let's
Thank
have a order. Thank you, Pamela. All right, next.
Just a point of information, Pamela. Those 64,000 signatures, if you read the addresses of the signatories, they're in Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan, most of them. The next speaker is Deborah Waters.
Good evening, and thank you so much for the revisions that was done on Bronx Park. I've lived in this community. I'm a registered voter. I've lived in this community all my life. And now I'm residing up by Nereid Avenue. Over a decade and a half ago, Nereid Avenue, I lived at 4606 Bronx Boulevard, and it was a pin can drop, and it was pristine. It was absolutely beautiful. As a community, yes, we did not think about when we put up the housing and all these small little homes and stuff like that. But now I'm talking about the shelters that are there now, and particularly the men's shelter. The men's shelter, because some of these men are on medication, the one that killed that poor woman that worked there. We have got to have more of a police presence in that neighborhood. And it is disgraceful. On Webster Avenue on the other side, an elderly woman was coming out her door, and she kept her door open. And that's by the Metro North side. And she noticed a man had come over there, and he was standing behind shrubs that was in the lobby. We have got to have more of a police presence, because that shelter is a problem. If it was a family shelter, it would be different. But we need police present, and we really need to shut it down and have a family shelter, because it's sad. And we need to stop having more shelters in that community. We have destroyed it. We have destroyed that area. The school system has went down. I have spoken to the principal. I have went and spoken to various teachers. They have actually, you're talking about, it went from a class A, I mean, I don't know the ratings on how they rate the schools, but it's really saddened to see what we have done to the community by instilling so many shelters in one area. We have destroyed our neighborhood. And I think that that's a reflection of us, and we need to correct it as soon as possible, because we are destroying our neighborhood step by step. It's not worth the money. I would like to see revisions done. I would like to see more of a police presence. Not the police coming, spot checking, doing, 10 cars behind each other. That's ridiculous. They need to be going around like they used to do, patrolling the neighborhood like they used to do. What happened to patrolling the neighborhood? They're showing 10 in a row coming by. That is beyond, I don't understand logic. I'm trying to understand. They need to have police presence there. I have seen insane behavior on White Plains Road and 238th Street now that used to be so pristine. On 241st Street, we went up there, a couple of ministers, not a minister, but we went up there and we prayed because of all the killing that used to, going on there. And I am saying we need to start thinking about how we're going to put this community back together that used to be so beautiful. The presence that is on Bronx Boulevard with the derelicts. Come on, we have got, so yes, you restored it, but guess what? Can we really go running in the park? I don't want to go now doing a light jog on Bronx Boulevard, which I used to always be able to do, because now we have the men's shelter there. And I mean, they are cray-cray. meaning a lot of them do not have their medication. They
Time
will
is up.
stand outside. I understand that, but we need to have time to do this, and we need to rectify what we did.
Ms. Waters, I just want to say something. You used a word that was very incorrect. We didn't do anything. We fought them, and we were shoved down our throat by the government, city government. We have no say in where these shelters go. We fought one on Bronx Boulevard further up by 241st Street. We won. We fought the Army Reserve Center. We won that. Now it's going to be home for veterans and senior citizens apartments. So the board is working very hard. The word is not we, it's the city.
Okay, but what I'm saying to you now, sir, is that how do we rectify this situation? And
We have no choice. We are told by the city government what goes in and what they want.
Let me respond and to your question. How we do that is we work together. We listen to people like you that come in, and we try to sit down with our committees and try to continue this fight against the shelters in our area. That's how.
And what about them taking their medications, because they are all up on White Plains Road screaming?
Yeah,
they come naked.
We have little control over that, but
we need police presence.
And that we
Isn't there the 47th precinct here?
Ma'am, that we can influence. So we have to continue to work together.
Yeah, we need. I'm going to go to the 47th precinct as well, because this is a disgrace.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
The next speaker is Brian Melford from Councilman King's office. Brian?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Brian.
I'm Brian Melford, a budget director and special assistant to Councilmember King. In reference to the wall, yes, Councilmember did make the suggestion of the wall, along with dozens of other suggestions. The wall is the only one that made it, sadly. So that's the one they decided to run with. In reference to the different facilities that they're building in the Northeast Bronx, Councilmember has been a staunch advocate against the ones that don't fit the character of the community. Realistically, there were several others that were proposed. We knocked them down. Sadly, if we have a track record of 7 out of 10, that's not all that good, but those 3 are ones that we're still trying to change. 3030 Bruner is still on the table, but it's not going to be a secure facility any longer. It's going to be a facility for youths under the age of 12. More recently, we got information that it's going to be mostly 0 to 5. So it's not going to be a secure facility for individuals that were incarcerated. It's going to be for kids that are in different family situations where they need housing immediately in an emergency situation. That's something we need. That space fits and accommodates that kind of need. Our community, sadly, has been oversaturated by facilities that resemble secure facilities, housing prisons. They take 2-family homes and they turn them into these 24-bed centers for individuals that are formerly upstate. They bring them downstate. They call it the Close to Home program through ACS. Councilmember has been having conversations of how do we have 12 and our neighboring district and Councilmember Vaca's district has 0. There's no balance there. How do we share the load while also taking care of what we have at home? District Manager Torres does a good job of giving us the numbers. We do have 1,900 that we need. Realistically, we can share that with the rest of the borough. Realistically, we should be balancing that across the city. We are a big city with 5 boroughs. Why are they kind of just given to us and thrown up here? Because we're close to the 9-5 and we're close to upstate. That's the logic that they use. And sadly, a lot of our properties are going for foreclosure, so it's easy for them to flip the properties. That's the reality. In other news, Councilmember King has an upcoming event, National Caribbean American Heritage Month and Gala Celebration. It's going to be Saturday, June 3rd, 2017 at 2 p.m. The Celeste Bartos Forum, New York Public Library, Stephen A. Schwartzman Building, 5th Avenue and 42nd Street, Manhattan. All are welcome to come to the library. And for those who don't know, Councilmember Andy King is the chair of the subcommittee on libraries in the New York City Council. This event is going to be honoring a number of outstanding Caribbean Americans, including but not limited to New York City Council Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito, Dr. Clayton Shillingford, Gabriel J. Christian Esquire, Ambassador Curtis Ward, and Dominica's ambassador to United Nations, Lorraine Bannis Roberts, as well as a number of other honorees of Caribbean American descent. So I urge all of you to come. It is going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing event. So if the 2 train is running, the 5 train is running, please join us. I have a number of flyers. I'm hoping that Ms. Green can make some more copies if we need, but please participate in this event, whether you're Caribbean American or not. This neighborhood just so happens to be a very diverse neighborhood representing a number of smaller and larger islands in the Caribbean. Please support the event and just have a good time at the library. In terms of other events happening in the neighborhood, I want to let everyone know that now it's getting hotter. The weather's changing. A lot more young people are going to be outside. Do not be afraid of them. Embrace them. Befriend them. If you're waiting for the bus, you're waiting for the train, you see a number of kids, say hello to them. They're a part of the community, whether they're going to school or leaving school. They participate if you urge them and engage them in different activities. Councilmember King did a cleanup on the 12th of May where we had the students of PS 112 come outside to Baychester houses, and we did a cleanup, thanks to sanitation providing the tools and the Tenants Association of Baychester houses. We cleaned outside with kids that had just learned about bioswells, recycling, and different tips and tools to take better care of their community. If we give them opportunities to participate, the kids will take them. So next time, please urge the young people in your community to participate, because they will. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. The last speaker of the night is Samantha Williams.
Good evening, everyone. How you guys doing today? Everybody's doing good? No? No one want to answer? I just want to know how everyone is doing. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So my name is Samantha, and I'm the founder of Gifted Souls Theater. The purpose of Gifted Souls is to help the inner city youth to express themselves through various forms of performing arts, such as acting, singing, dancing, and so forth. As you can see with my little small introduction, you guys are not so friendly right now, but it's okay. So the objective is to give the inner city youth an opportunity to have a platform to gain self-expression and to give back to the community through various forms of performing arts. I am going to be holding a talent showcase for our community. And at this point, I am looking for performers, artists, anyone that you see that's struggling to speak, anyone that you see that's struggling to have a form of self-expression, anyone you know that's either fighting to show their, their anger or their inner emotions. This is the perfect place for them so that they may have that perfect safe space to be able to showcase their talents. So I'll be passing out brochures of Gifted Souls so that you guys may see exactly what it is that we do. We've passed 10 cycles. We've been recognized by MTVU and Huffington Post. So we've been doing really well in terms of getting the youth in Harlem and Long Island to participate. Now that I've relocated, I would like to extend my services to the Bronx youth. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope that you guys take the time out to look at the brochures.
Okay, thank you very much. And that brings end to Community Speaks.
Thank you, Mr. First and Second Vice Chairs. Do you want to, at this point, acknowledge? Okay, we're going to acknowledge the representatives of our elected officials.
Good evening, everyone. I would just like to acknowledge the representatives for elected officials. Barati Kamraj is representing the Honorable Ruben Diaz Jr. Ivan Ned, he's representing the Honorable Jeffrey Denowitz. And Brian Medford is representing the Honorable Andy King. Also, we have in the house Mr. Dana Drixel from the Department of City Planning, the Bronx. And that's it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And we want to make sure we acknowledge all the people who take the time to come to our board meeting. All right, Mr. District Manager, you're up for your report.
Good evening, everyone. Summer is quickly approaching, and the board will be going on a well-deserved hiatus. A few quick updates on what we've been doing here at the board. When I was hired back in August of 2015, I set out to update some of our infrastructure, both technologically and physically, in terms of leasehold improvements. The goal of these improvements was to lay the foundation on providing better services for our constituents and staff. I believe that happy employees provide better results. In this vein, we have upgraded our technology and can now say that anyone can leave us a message even after hours. We now have voice over phone, internet phones, which allows the caller to leave a voicemail that will be sent to my email. In the event of an emergency, a caller can get in contact with anyone on staff just by leaving a voicemail on our office phones. Everyone on staff will have a direct line and their own voicemail boxes. Additionally, we have upgraded our kitchen. Our old kitchen was dated and terribly inefficient, considering how many people use it. We have been able to add more counter and storage space for staff. Moreover, we have purchased a new refrigerator that has a water dispenser. This simple fix now allows us to move the water cooler, which is in the back near the water fountain, here to the carriage house so that everyone will have access to drinkable water. Baychester Square. A quick update on Baychester Square. As you may recall, the Bronx Borough President's Office held a public hearing on April 4th. The Borough President supported our endorsement of the retail senior residential development with two important modifications. The restrictive declaration that articulates the developer's intent not to develop Baychester Square as an outlet center, and all necessary language that pertains to this matter be codified into the final agreement between the applicant and the New York City Department of Economic Development. This agreement must then run with the land. The second caveat, the applicant and the appropriate division of the MTA establish a direct bus transportation necessary to accommodate Baychester Square without adversely affecting access to Bay Plaza. Special attention must also be given to the manner by which Access-a-Ride can service the senior citizen complex to be included in the project. And for a quick moment, I'm going to allow Dana Driscoll from City Planning to speak on what the next steps, because Pam did raise the issue that it was before the Planning Commission, so he'll explain what the next steps are, just so that we get a better picture.
Good evening, members of the board, members of the community. Just again want to point out that the City Council has the final say in this matter, and after the hearing and vote of the commission, we forward a recommendation to the City Council. They have another series of public hearings. They will have a committee hearing, public hearing. Members of the community board or interested members of the public can testify in the same way that we had the hearing here in the district. So it's not a final decision until the City Council acts, and the community has a right and the obligation to let their point of view be known. Be good if we could get a small delegation of board members to go down. I will forward the dates and the times to the district manager, and I think the members of the council are responsive, number one, to the council person in whose district a project is located, and they are responsive to the public. So it's not over until it's over, and you still have obligation and ability to influence the final choice.
I'm sorry, Dana, when is the commission going to make their recommendation? Do you have a date? Okay. So as soon as we get the date, I'll forward the information to the board members. Two other quick updates. IDNYC, I don't know if everybody remembers when we did this last year. Recently, the good folks at the Human Resources Department reached out to us to bring back IDNYC. Last year, we were fairly successful in registering our residents to receive all the benefits of having a municipal ID card. HRA is looking to use our office as a pop-up location between June 8th and June 21st. IDNYC is a free identification card for all New York City residents. As a government-issued photo identification card, IDNYC secures the peace of mind and access to city services that come from having recognized identification. IDNYC benefits every city resident, including the most vulnerable communities, the homeless, youth, the elderly, undocumented immigrants, the formerly incarcerated, and others who may have difficulty obtaining other government-issued ID. IDNYC cardholders can access services and programs offered by the city as well as by businesses. IDNYC helps enhance public safety by serving as a recognized ID for interacting with the NYPD. It also helps New Yorkers gain access to all city buildings that provide services to the public and is accepted as a form of identification for accessing numerous city programs and services. IDNYC also provides a dynamic series of benefits to cardholders, including free one-year membership at many of the city's leading museums, zoos, concert halls, and botanical gardens. Another benefit that we're bringing back next month is rain barrels. Last year, Community Board 12 was highly successful in working with our local elected officials, in addition to the Department of Environmental Protection, in handing out over 600 rain barrels. So I'll just read what I wrote real quick. Another great event that is upcoming is our free rain barrel giveaway, similar to last year. The Community Board has teamed up with all of our local elected officials, Council members Andy King and Andy Cohen, Speaker of the New York State Assembly, Carl Heastie, and Assembly Member Jeffrey Dinowitz, State Senator Jamal Bailey. On Saturday, June 3rd, at the Community Board and the New York City Department of Environmental Protection will give out 150 free rain barrels. Anyone can call the board office at 718-881-4455 to reserve a barrel. There will also be a limited number of barrels given away on a first-come, first-served basis. So anybody in the audience that wants a rain barrel, feel free to give the Community Board a call. We'll put you down on our list and we'll hold one for you. And again, we will try to reserve a small number for anybody that sees what's going on and wants one. We'll be able to have that available for them. Finally, I received some interest in putting together a board retreat that could be used to help work on issues facing our community. My suggestion is to identify some board members who can work with Ursula and myself on putting together an agenda for that day's activities. So that's my suggestion to the board. Maybe you can create an ad hoc committee that will help us put this retreat together. And finally, in conclusion, today marks my 661st day as your district manager, or my 1 year, 9th month, and 22nd day of my tenure. I look forward to each and every day. Thank you and good night.
Okay, thank you, George. All right. I want to acknowledge Ms. Ann Larrier from Jamal Bailey's office, our new senator. So are you here, please? Just give her a hand. Former board member as well, active community member. So hello, Ann. Thank you for coming. Okay, Borough President's report.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. You guys still here? It's always a pleasure to come and represent the Bronx Borough President's Office. I'm Barati Kemraj, and we have a lot happening in the borough. We just finished Bronx Week. It was over 14 days of celebration and festivities celebrating the best of the borough. We ended it with a grand finale and a parade on Marshallou Parkway on Sunday. And as you know, the mayor is in the borough. He's been bringing City Hall here, so he's been here all week visiting different locations, different businesses, senior centers, and his office and all of his directors have basically set up shop at Borough Hall, which is on 161st Street and the courthouse. So if anybody has any concerns and problems, they should come out. Tomorrow's the last day. They've been there all week, again, just handling all different constituent concerns in the borough. We do have different departments with the Bronx Borough President's Office. I know that a couple of people have asked, you know, what do we do? What are some of the concerns? Everyone in the room should know that the Bronx Borough President's Office have a different department to handle constituent services, senior problems, community board issues. Every time I'm here representing the Bronx Borough President's Office, take my number. It's 718-590-2653, 718-590-2653. Feel free to give me a call. If I can't handle your concerns, I will surely direct you to another office. We do have our Constituent Services Department that is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and there are individuals there that will sit down with you, set up an appointment, and talk to you about your needs and concerns. We also have our Senior Department, and again, they have individuals that will be able to answer questions if you have any. I know Lucille's always there at all of our festivities as well as in the office whenever she needs to be. We do have a drop in unemployment. It is down to a 5.7 all-time low. And there's a lot happening in regards to collaborations with different organizations. And one that I want to mention is JP Morgan and Chase announced a $6 million commitment to expand young people's access to economic opportunities in the South Bronx. While the unemployment rate is below a certain number, with this JP Morgan Chase investment from its New Skills from Youth initiative, more young people in the South Bronx will be able to secure the necessary education and training to secure a middle-skilled job in 3 growing industries: transportation, distribution, and logistics, healthcare, as well as information technology. So these are things that you all need to know. These are things that you should be updated with as what's happening, what opportunities are there. If you don't have it on your table or in any of the booklet, feel free to ask. We also have if you type in Bronx Borough President, you'll be able to go directly to his website and check out any information there. We do have a lot happening still in the borough, a lot of different events and stuff, and as we get closer to those, we will disseminate the information to the board so that they can pass it out to all of you. Any questions? Comments? Thank you all and have a great evening.
Thank you, Barati. Okay, I'm going to be brief with my report. I want to mention that 2 weeks ago we had a wonderful dinner that was sponsored by the Borough President's Office. All the other boards were there. For those of you who did attend, you know what I'm talking about. We got a proclamation which is hanging in the hallway, but I took it down so those of you who were not there can see our proclamation, okay? I took lots of photos. I'm going to have some of these photos printed out, and we're going to hang them on the wall eventually. So just to let you guys who were not available to come know that we're going to do that. Want to mention that I am, in addition to being your chair here at Board 12, I'm the chair of the Croton Filtration Plant, and we have an educational training program up at that plant to expose students to our water filtration plants. And Brian, I'm going to ask you to help with the councilmen so that we can get some of the schools in our area involved in that educational program. A lot of the schools in that area, in the area of the plant, are involved. I want some of the schools in our area to get involved. So I'm going to talk a little more about that with you. We'll sit down, get a chance. Okay, so I wanted to mention that, and I'm going to keep it very, very short. Just also want to mention Dr. Burke. That was a fantastic presentation. You had to cut it short, but I suggest that it be done again in the school system in our areas, because a lot of students have no idea what our history is in our board area. So I think that should be revisited in our school areas, and just want to talk to you about that at some point, okay? So, all right, so in the interest of time, I'm going to move ahead to committees. Oh, just one other point. We're going to have a very important executive meeting. There are some issues that have come up in the last couple of months. They're going to be discussed at our executive meeting in closed session. So I just want to let you know that we are paying attention to our issues, and they will be addressed. And we're going to have an executive meeting within the next 2 weeks, just to let you know. Okay? All right. Okay. All right. Going to move on to committee reports, and I'm going to start again with libraries because we have neglected. So, Ms. Claude.
Is it on? I don't think so. It's on. Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joan Claude, Chair of the Library and Cultural Affairs Committee. This committee met on Tuesday, May 9th. We talked about our celebration of Black History, Women's History Month. We reviewed our feedback in an effort to see what changes we could make, if any, how we can improve, especially in the area of getting the word out. We need more support from the community and also from the board. Our next project is to have a health awareness day. We have set a date of September 16, 2017, which I hope we can do it on that date. With the assistance of Montefiore Hospital, I hope this can be accomplished. This entails a lot of work and a lot of preparation. But we're looking forward to doing this Health Awareness Day. And we hope that this will be something that's very good for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Claude. Housing, do you have a report?
Okay.
Now we got you.
All right, I'm live. I wanted to thank the Housing Committee members for what they did standing up on the Woodlawn situation. I thought the Woodlawn community did a very civil and obedient job getting their 150 people in this room to protest their situation regarding the building of a senior development. Things went relatively well, and although there was an as of right, the developer decided to go elsewhere. So that was, attention had by all. And I wanted to thank the members, Deacon Brown, Walter McNeil, and Victor Brown. They did a superb job, all right? I listened to the problems that came up this evening. We talked about what was going on Bronx Park East, the housing, and I just would like people to know that the Executive Director of Neighborhood Housing Services, Mr. Oscar Murillo, along with myself, all right, has been up to Jamal Bailey's office, all right, and we've spoken about a plan to get some of these foreclosed properties and tie them so that housing can be created where we would have suites and people who are living in them will get the proper medication that they need. All right, this was an idea. It hasn't come to full because we need funding. So we went to Jamal Bailey and we're talking. Also, on the 16th, I was very fortunate to go down to the Prince George Hotel where the governor has allocated $20 billion to clean up New York City. $7 billion was allocated for shelters. There's going to be more affordable housing in the city of New York per se. As far as the New York City Housing Authority is concerned, they are going to help prepare and refurbish the infrastructure. So this money is coming, it's here. It was signed by the governor, and I was blessed because Carl Hastie, in his infinite wisdom, sat here and he went, Speaker Hastie came out and he gave me the pen that they signed the $20 billion on, all right? The idea, ladies and gentlemen, is to think out the box. We have problems, we have difficulties, but collectively we can overcome anything. But we have to stick together, and that's the infinite reason, all right? Now, one more thing on the New York City housing front, all right? HUD, in their infinite wisdom in D.C., okay, has cut NYCHA's public housing operating funds by $50 million. They also decided to change their operating formula as it lends itself to Section 8. And this new operation that they created has also created a deficit of $34 million. So what we're talking about is an $84 million deficit that presently exists out of nowhere for the New York City Housing Authority. All right, folks, all right, we have to band together, all right? Every problem that exists, all right, housing is humanity. If you don't have a roof over your head, you can't go forward. You can't think straight. That is exactly why you heard some of the symbolisms that exist, why some of the people that exist on Bronx Park East. But if we unify, we can overcome this by thinking out the box. So once again, Organizations are working in the best interest of the problems at hand, especially in this community, all right? And hopefully we'll be successful, all right? But stay with us, please, all right? That's all I have to say.
Can I just make one suggestion,
Sure.
additional as an addendum to your report? Would you want to speak to what's going on in Gun Hill and who was responsible for that funding and what's happening over there?
Okay. Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't say, in the Gun Hill housing development, due to the funding of Councilman Andy King, all right, the Department of Transportation has created all of the sidewalk in the circumference of Gun Hill houses that are being refurbished, all right? Not only that, we broke ground about 10 days ago to clean up the kiddie parks that exist within the confines of Gun Hill. And we're going to color code our 6 buildings so that there's a color. When you're looking for 7-Eleven, you're going to know what color that 7-Eleven exists on. All right? These are the formations that exist, and it's because people like our councilman, people like DOT, all of the different agencies collectively has heard our call. And if we work together, we can achieve all kinds of success. So that's what's going on in Gun Hill, and we're going to keep it moving. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the comprehensive report. Okay, who is our next committee? Next committee for report? Economic. You know, I like to hold you for last because you are very extensive, but okay. Okay, call. Not you, the other call. Call with the hair.
Okay, my name's Carl Lanzano, Chairman of the Health and Human Services Committee. On Thursday, May 13th, the Health and Human Services Committee had a meeting with Daybreak Independent Services. They requested an opening of a facility for 6 autistic men at 710 East 219th Street, just off White Plains Road. Excuse me. The CEO and 3 other representatives who came were informative, professional, and showed a seasoned capacity to care for the patients. They have been in business since 2010, and we know of no negative reports about them. The building they are looking to use is brand new and being renovated. And they also have a daycare center, daycare and development center on Vireo Avenue. There are issues, however. There is no certificate of occupancy for the residents, excuse me, only a certificate of occupancy search, which was issued at 10/17 in 2016. Number 2, it is located behind a fish market, which, and I've been there, has fish aroma varying from mild to very strong, depending on the day. And thirdly, at 5:00 p.m. This evening, I received a report from the 47th Precinct, which said that in the last 28-day period, the general, let me quote it. It said that in the last 28-day period in that general area, there was a stabbing, 2 general larcenies, 4 shots fired, and is a known drug location. Since I was the only member of the committee present, to say that this will be a committee recommendation would be a stretch. But my recommendation would be to deny the application on the grounds of possible health issues because of the fish market and because it seems is an apparently dangerous location. I leave it to the board to make the final decision. Respectfully submitted, Carl Lanzano.
Should we take this vote now? You know what? I think maybe we should take this vote right now We have to take two votes, one to accept the committee's report. So the first vote will be to accept the committee's report, and the second vote will be to deny or accept. Now, let's move on to first. Madam Secretary, do we have this? Okay.
Point of information, what is it that you want?
We are accepting the Health Committee's report. And I want to do this now so we have this fresh in our head.
Accept the committee
Yes.
report. Okay.
A yea is accepting, a nay is not to accept. The committee's report.
Report.
Of the committee that he just gave us.
Frank Alapo, not here. Benitez Judith.
Aye.
Bennett is not here. Barry Hazel is not here. Broomfield Hillary. Boras Ivan and Anthony.
Aye.
Borsati Kala. Brown Ellen Marlene. Victor Brown is not here. Deacon Edward Brown. Brian Norbert. Dr. Legree Burke. Campbell Sadie. Christian Evelyn. Gail is not here. John Clark. John Clark. Huh? Clark. Coleman Bernicia. Dickerson Torlin. Dickerson, I think she was here. Okay, she's not present for the. Eastman Lauder, not here. Evans Raymond, not here. Figueroa Alfredo. Gibson LaGrande Barbara. Johnny Goff is not here. Green Chantel. Robert Hall. William Hall. Hayes, Alicia Hayes is not here. Horton April is not here. Isaac John. James Theodore. James Theodore. Not here now. Lanzano Carl. Martin Lucille is not here. McLeod Mary is not here. McNeil Walter. Angela Moore is not here. Mike Clinton. Carmen Ortiz, aye. Porter Frank. Pablo Claudia, not here. Reed Anthony, not here. Dr. Robbins. Aye. Felix Roldan. Aye. Icy Mae Thomas. Aye. Strickler Carl. Aye. Weir Nicole. And Viles Winner. Who did I miss?
Ms. Dickerson just walked in.
Oh.
She wasn't here. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You want to abstain?
No, wait until the next one.
Okay. All right. Okay, for those of you who just voted to accept the report and the report is denying, and am I correct, Carl? Your committee report is to deny. Am I correct? Yes. Okay. Is there anyone who wants to change their vote? A yea would be to deny, a nay would be to accept. So can we record everyone as the first vote? Yea? Okay. Yes. Okay, what is your name? Nicole Weir. She was counted, yes?
Yes.
Okay, we did count you, Nicole. Okay, we don't leave anybody out. Okay, so we accept the report and we're going to deny the application. Everybody agree? Okay? That's a yes vote. Carl, you want to go back to the explanation? That facility, yes. Yes. Based on the recommendation of the chair of the Health Committee. All right? Okay.
Where's the roll?
No,
You want me to go, huh?
is everybody in favor?
Everybody is, they did. So we're good. We're good. Unanimous. We're good. You do? Okay. All right, Hillary. We'll excuse you. Okay. Next committee report, and thank you.
Ms. Dickinson, she stepped out, so I have to ask her how she's going to vote.
Are you accepting the report? But you wasn't here, right?
No.
Okay.
For the second half.
The second? No. So do you want to recuse?
I'm going to abstain.
All right. Okay, we'll abstain, but the status still remains the same. Accepted the report. Okay. Any other committee? Okay, call. All right. No, let you go first. You'll be shorter.
Okay.
Ivan's more extensive.
Yeah, I just want to say, we were supposed to have a public hearing tonight that we canceled last month because of insufficient information, and that was a gas station at 233rd and Baychester Avenue, because there was some issues with it. Unfortunately, the guy who's representing the owner told him a half hour before the hearing tonight that there was going to be a hearing. So he came in, we were about to start the meeting. I discussed it with him. He's coming back in June for the hearing with all the necessary input so we can have a logical hearing. Because we don't want to hurt the guy if he's doing the right thing. So, but we have some, hearing, so he'll be here. His neighbors will be invited to come. But the guy was really, I can't believe it. He says, so I told him he should look for another guy. Because he was going to call, we told them 2.5 weeks ago that we wanted to have this hearing. And in fact, the young lady that was here representing him went back and said that. But the person he has representing him on the property did not notify him until just before the board meeting. So we're going to have it in June. It's only fair to him.
Okay. And I was at that meeting with him tonight, so I'm happy to give them, if somebody in the community is going to work towards trying to improve, we give them as much time as we can to make those improvements. So we'll do that in June. All right, before I go to my very extensive committees here, Parks and Economic, I just want to ask the nominating committee if they have a report for us if you got a microphone, into the microphone real loud so we could hear you and record you.
Okay, this is a report from the nominating committee. I'm Clinton Mike, the chair of the committee. We met on May 3rd, 2017. I was selected as the chair, Carla Bashadi as the secretary. The meeting was called at 7:35, and Mr. Felix Rodan moved to present the following slate of officers. For chairperson, William Hall. First vice chairperson, Carl Stricker. Second vice chairperson, John Isaac. Secretary, Ms. Carmen Ortiz. Treasurer, Hillary Bloomfield. The motion was seconded by Michael Burke, and the committee voted unanimously for the slate as proposed. And the meeting was adjourned at approximately 7:50.
Thank you very much. And we will have nominations for the floor in June, so we'll continue this process in June. And I promise to get you out of here. That's why I left my last two committees that are very extensive for last. Okay, we'll start with Parks and Recreation. And
good evening, Ivan Boris, Parks Chair. The Parks Committee met on May 17th, 2017, and it has continued to work aggressively. Our attendance continues to grow, and I encourage all to participate in our forums. Shout out to the McAllister sisters and Loretta Allen, members of our very own community, for having a meaningful input in our community planning. With the $2.2 million budget, our latest project is in conjunction with Beinson Butts Architects, is the Wakefield Playground. As many of you know, Wakefield Playground is the playground adjacent to PS 16, and below the Wakefield Playground, and above is the Wakefield Park basketball courts, located on Matilda Avenue and Carpenter Ave between East 239th Street and East 240th Street. The project is significant to the community, considering the nearest park is a minimum of 10-minute walking distance away. The goals consist of making the Carpenter Avenue entrance more welcoming, improve landscaping, and play equipment. The current entrance ramp does not meet the ADA compliance, which will be addressed in this project. There will be a new sprinkler system, which will consist of three separate sprinklers, new challenging jungle gyms, for 2 separate youth age groups. The project will also increase the landscaping permeability from 8% to 20%. So there's no flooding or anything like that, even though this park doesn't have those issues, hence it is being improved. Concerns based on the plans were swings. New regulations limit the number of adolescent swings. The committee recommended on one child swing be converted to an adolescent swing due to its popularity with our youth. Moreover, there will be an added adaptive accessible swing for our handicap, okay, or our special needs. Thank you. Yes. Where am I? I lost my place. Okay. Moreover, the committee is seeking to address the TCU buildings, that's the temporary classrooms, which don't seem to be temporary considering that they have taken up park space for over 8 years, so I don't know how temporary that is. Upon my own canvassing of our community parks, I strongly request more exits be implemented in our parks for safety reasons due to logistics of separate entities such as schools limiting gate entrances and exits. The committee took note that the chess or dominoes table was not included with the plan, so we recommended one be included. They were very open to that. They were very flexible. The committee also requested picnic tables so that families can have functions there. It's a beautiful plan. Lighting was discussed as the committee would like to see solar lighting to reduce our carbon footprint. We will seek out the DOT to work with us in advancing our community's technology. The project estimated start is January 2018 and completion in 2020. Supplemental to this report, I'm extremely happy to announce that the upper playground has confirmed funding and plans are underway for its construction as well. Full disclosure, this project is near and dear to me because I attended Public School 16 and hold many childhood memories in Wakefield Park. So I'm looking forward to the completion of this project. With that said, the committee recommends to move forward with the Wakefield Park project. Thank you. So I recommend to move forward with the project.
Okay, so we have to
The committee.
All right, so we're going to stop right now and vote on that. And again, an aye vote is to accept the Parks Committee Chair's vote.
Okay.
If everybody wants to vote the way they voted the last time, with the exception, if anybody has any exception, we'll just take your vote as the same as.
Does anyone have a nay for accepting the Parks Committee report?
Somebody abstained and they want to.
Or abstain? So you abstained, you want to abstain again, or you want to accept this report? Okay, so can we get a vote? Is a unanimous vote? Can I, is it an aye? Okay, so we accept the report, okay? And on the same issue, do we want to move ahead with this project, Parks Department? So we have 2 votes, one to accept the report, the other to move ahead with the project. Very good, Ivan. Very comprehensive report, thank you. Okay. All right, now, any other report before we get to our kingpin here from economic? Okay, any other reports? We're good? All right, Mr. Kingpin, economic development. Go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Felix Roldan. I chair the Economic and Business Services Committee. Before I actually start, I want Carl Lozano to read a letter that I received today, and then I'll continue with my part.
Hello? Yeah. This was a letter sent to me to be relayed that didn't get to the committee on time, but I wanted for the record. A lady that lives in the neighborhood, I won't mention her name because I didn't ask permission to use it, but this is what she sent. It has to do with the Tombstone Bar on East 230, 3rd Street between Kepler and Oneida. This Tombstone Bar should not be in possession of a liquor license. Patrons drinking until 8 and 9 in the morning. fighting outside the bar at all hours, taxis honking their horns, waiting for somebody to come out. 233rd Street is a very busy street for any individual to come out totally intoxicated. This bar and the hideout have been reported to the police, but to no avail. Quality of life is non-existent on this block between Kepler and Oneida on East 233rd Street. Thank you.
Three businesses came to me last week for their liquor license. Two of them were renewal, and one was for a new license. Unfortunately, the Tombstone was one that came in for renewal, and this information we did not have at the time. We approved it. What we're asking for is, when you do go vote, to keep this particular license on pending while I go back and actually research this myself. I will be going with myself plus a member or two from the committee. The other one that came in was the LaRousse Catering Hall. This is also a renewal. We found nothing wrong, and she did do everything that we asked her to do, and all the questions that we asked her were all right on T. We're also approving that one. When we got one more that had me a little worried, because I was wondering why Mingles Cafe, which was the third one, is asking for a new license. And it's not that a new license for Mingles. It's a new license for the new owner. Somebody came in and offered to buy it, take it off their hands, and he does not want the license to be transferred to him. He'd rather have his own from day one. There's nothing wrong with that. And I said it was okay. And he filled in also all the requirements. He had them all, and so we also approved his license. So what you want, when you do vote, we only want you to vote on the LaRousse Catering Hall and Mingles, and keep Tombstone on hold for now. Because I will make a visit to them personally to see what's going on here.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the board right now? I know we have two more. I just want to, at this point, do we have any questions from the board to the economic chair at this point?
Mingles Cafe.
All right, hold it.
It's right around the corner from my house, and things happen there, so I would probably vote against it, so that's my only question that I have. But you're saying it's a new owner. The last owner was terrible, you know, so.
Point of information.
Point of information.
Okay, any other points of information? Okay, all right, we'll continue.
Just to say, I will keep in mind what you just mentioned, because if we're having problems before, I want to also check with NYPD.
All right. Does that conclude, or is it call saying there's two more? Is that it?
That is it.
Renewals?
Excuse me?
No. 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 So are you finished? Are you complete?
Yes, I did.
All right. I want to take a vote to accept the economics. Yes, another point?
On Carl's question, RLP stationery never showed up.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay.
And was the same with Angel?
The same with
Didn't show up.
Angel's
Okay.
Deli.
Okay.
Thank you.
They never showed up.
All right. So I'd like to take the vote to accept the Economics Committee's report. Okay.
It's to accept the report.
Of the Economic Committee.
Okay. Franklin is not here. You want, Benitez Judith? Bennett Algrier, she didn't come back, right? No. Hazel Berry? Not here. Bloomfield Hillary? No. Bloomfield Hillary is not here, okay. Boris Ivan?
Aye.
Bersotti Carla. Brown Ellen, Brown Ellen Marlene. Victor Brown is not here. Deacon Edward Brown. Deacon? Aye. Brian Norbert?
Madam Secretary, point of order. So,
What are we voting for?
accepting the committee's report, total report. And then we're going to come back. No, yes, there's another one coming after this.
Okay, I'm going back to the deacon, and he said aye.
Deacon said aye.
Okay. Norbert Bryan? Dr. Burke? Campbell Sadie? Christian Evelyn? Gail is not here. Joan Clark? Coleman Bernicia? Dickinson Dorleen? Aye. Eastman Louder is not here. Evans Raymond is not here. How about Figueroa Alfredo? Gibson LeGrand Barbara? Johnny Goff is not here. Green Chantel? Robert Hall? William Hall?
Aye.
Hayes Lisa is not here. Horton April is not here. Isaac John? Theodore James is not here. Lanzano Carl? Martin Lucille is not here. McLeod Mary is not here. McNeil Walter? Angela Moore is not here. Mike Clinton? Ortiz Carmen? Abstain. Porter Frank? Powell Claudia? Not here. Reed, not here. Robbins, Dr. Robbins, Dina? Aye. Roldan Felix? Aye. Salki Icy May Thomas? Aye. Carl Stricker? Aye. Nicole Weir? Aye. And Norma Wiles, she's not here. Okay.
Okay, do the ayes have it on accepting this report? Okay, so the next vote will be on pending of Tombstone. Does everybody understand? Pending of Tombstone. A yea is we allow our chair to continue his investigation by pending, and a nay is no. All right?
Only on Tombstone?
Only on Tombstone right now, pending.
Pending. We're only pending on one person.
Pending on Tombstone.
A lot, not here. Benitez Judy. Aye. Bennett Iguiria, not here. Hazelberry, not here. Hillary Bloomfield, not here. Boris Ivan Anthony? Aye. Aye. Bersotti Carla? Aye. Brown Allen Marlene? Aye. Victor Brown? Not here. Deacon Edward Brown? Abstain. Brian Norbert? Dr. Legree Burke? Campbell Sadie? Christian Evelyn? Gail Clark is not here. Joan Clark? Coleman Bernicia? Dickerson Tolene? Eastman Louder is not here. Edmonds Raymond is not here. Figueroa Alfredo? Gibson LeGrand Barbara? Johnny Goff not here. Green Chantel? Robert Hall? William Hall? Hayes Lisa? She's not here. Horton April is not here. John Isaac? James Theodore is not here. Lanzano Carl? Martin Lucille? Did she? Martin Lucille? Not here. She's not here, right? McLeod Mary? Not here. McNeil Walter? McNeil?
Aye.
Angela Moore? Not here. Mike Clinton? Ortiz Carmen? Aye. Porter Frank? Claudia Powell? Not here. Anthony Reed? Not here. Dr. Dina Robbins? Roldan Felix? Sulky Icy May Thomas? Stricker Carl? Where Nicole? Wills Norma, not here. The ayes have it.
Okay, Mr. Economic Chair, you have the authority to conduct your investigation, and also we accept your report. And as usual, very comprehensive, and thank you for all your hard work. And thank you for your committee members that work with you as well. Okay, I'm promised to get you out here before the storm. We're just about finished. Any old business? Anybody wants to bring up old business? Old business? Ms. Gibson, folks? Ms. Gibson? Yes. White Plains and Gun Hill in terms of the
traffic as well as the vendors are overlapping down there.
I think we need to bring that up in our executive committee meeting as well as the committee on the committee level. So that's something we need to. I know you and I spoke about that, and we need to continue.
Am I allowed to attend that meeting?
Not the executive, but if you want to sit in with us to testify, you can do that. You can come in for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and give your opinion or feeling.
I will tell you, I've been down there 3 or 4 times since the last board meeting, and it is disastrous. It's filled.
So yeah, if you want to come in and talk to us for a few moments, I will allow you to do that.
Again, I say, MTA is responsible for 5 feet within their entrances. Everything else belongs to Parks Department, because that's Park property.
But our job is to get it cleaned up. That's
So
our
both
job.
of them could come to the meeting, or are they at your meeting?
We'll figure this out. We'll figure this out and before the exec meeting and sit down with me and Carl and the second vice chair. We'll sit down and figure out how we're going to approach.
We won't even be able to.
Yeah, we'll work this. We'll work this.
I went through the height of it during the day. I was down there for 2-3 hours each day. I'm very depressed, especially since I designed that.
Wow.
Okay, so we'll
Thank you for your support.
we'll follow up, and thank you for the point of information. Okay, any other old business? Okay, all right, new business, Carl?
Yeah, this is just a heads up. If you get a phone call from a 917 number saying that if you get a phone call from the 917 number and they're asking you, don't be concerned about your credit card. We just need some information so we can raise your balance, your credit line. They don't tell you what bank they come from. It's a scam. They'll tell you, give us your credit card number. You're going to give them a credit card number, and then they got you. They got everything on you. So if you get a number like that, and the guy says, we're calling you to upgrade your credit limit with a bank, don't worry about it. You're not losing your card or anything, but we need to upgrade your credit union. And then they're going to ask you, what's your number? When's it expire? your mother's, and all that other stuff. So ignore it. Hang up on them. And you can call them whatever you want before you hang up. That's up to you. But I would hang up on them.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's new business. As usual, all I want to say is thank you, folks, for coming out. You're non-billable people that come out and work on this board. I appreciate, just a minute. I appreciate it, and want you to continue to work together. Dr. Burke, fantastic presentation. Let's do it again at another level. And our board member has something to say. So, Dina, Dr. Dina, give her the microphone, and we'll be motion to adjourn.
Yeah, just briefly, I would like to invite you to the 24th annual Juneteenth King Fest celebration. It's a celebration of the end of slavery in the United States. It takes place in Harlem. Several people from up here have been Grand Marshals. I'm trying to get Mrs. Turner, who's 101 years old, to be one of the Grand Marshals in the parade, or at least to be honored at that time. So I have flyers for that. And also on your calendars, I'm almost finished, Ursula. On July the 16th, which is a Sunday, it's going to be Hands Across Gun Hill. This is our 3rd year. We're celebrating the 190th anniversary of the abolition of slavery in New York State. We want everybody out there, everybody, right there in Evander Childs Park. Come out. We'll be there from 12 noon to 7 p.m. If you would like to sing, if your community group would like to participate, if you'd like to be a vendor or any of that, please see me. I'll have flyers at the next meeting. Thank you.
She wanted to keep it quiet. She took the mic off.
All right, before I motion to adjourn, I just want to, young lady right here, we had a conversation regarding the YMCA, so next month we'll talk about that, all right? And please remind me so we can bring that up and share it with the board, okay? I'm sorry? Yeah, what about the proclamation? Yeah, I just wanted to show the members that didn't show, and then we're going to put it right back on our wall. It's on our wall in our hall. So, okay, motion to adjourn? Okay, thank you. Okay.
Charlie's Bar and Kitchen is a new American restaurant in the South Bronx. We have a seasonal menu, fresh ingredients that change over the seasons depending on what's available. We try and get to local farmers markets as much as we can. Keep the food as fresh as possible. The building is a beautiful historic piano factory. It is a landmark building. I think there's a sense of that when you feel and walk into the space. It has a very warm, cozy kind of environment, candlelit, intimate mood, and the exposed bricks and the wall. The fact that it's an old, charming landmark building from the late 1800s, I think adds to our character. So anybody who comes into the restaurant normally doesn't notice immediately why the place is called Charlie's. And so the theme of the place being Charlie's, no apostrophe, Charlie's plural, is more than one Charlie. So it becomes blatantly obvious towards the end when you're faced against this mural up against the wall of all these Charlies. But it's all about famous Charlies. So, yeah, Charlie's Bar and Kitchen, I mean, the name itself, bar and kitchen. So we started off the idea that we were prominently a bar. But some people do see us now more as a kitchen. They come here more to dine. It's a new American restaurant with slightly Southern influences. Because of the seasonal menu, we get to change up the ingredients, which gives us the ability to change up the menu. As a location, I think we've captured a good kind of audience, a local audience, a Bronx audience who now looking for something a little different, come over to come see us.
City is an Asian fusion restaurant in the South Bronx. When we built the restaurant, we put our heart and soul into it. We wanted something that people will walk in and will see the restaurant and say, wow. And the moment it's combined with the taste of the food, which is also unique, gives you a taste of Asian places in the world.
Our staple here is the tuna bruschetta. It's amazing. People rave about it. It's what a lot of people come here for. They're like, somebody told me to try something that comes on this crispy rice. It's amazing. It's crispy rice, guacamole, spicy tuna, ingredients that people really, really love.
Our goal here is not just to make amazing food or nice decor or be nice. It's the whole thing. I want people to experience something that they've never experienced anywhere in the world. Good service, good food, and that it looks decent and nice. And when they're happy, it's for me like I just had an amazing epiphany. So it's the 4th year that we participate in this, and we're very, very happy to do it because for us it's giving back to the community that supported us since day one.
Bistro Escape, it's a French bistro that we opened 6 years ago.
We are the only French restaurant in all of the Bronx.
It took me 4 months and a half to do the whole thing, from the wallpaper to the floor, to the sconces, to the decor. I did everything by myself.
People come in here and immediately they feel very homey. It's because we took literally the pictures off the wall of our home and brought them down and put them in the restaurant. And we want just the opposite. We want people to feel that warm and welcome when they come in here. We get a lot of business from Manhattan customers, even people from Brooklyn come, Westchester, Connecticut, but we have a lot of local Bronx people that come here as well, and a lot of City Islanders that come.
All dishes, we design them to our taste. Salmon is a piece of salmon fillet, cut like as a steak. It's pan roasted. We serve it with a sage sauce with a little bit of cream. And we serve it with the black olive mashed potato and with some vegetables. It's pan-seared. Savor the Bronx, it's a possibility for us to put ourselves on a map in Bronx, because people in the Bronx, let's tell the truth, they don't necessarily go to a French restaurant in the first place, and especially if they come to City Island. My goal was to create something that was I'm French myself, so my goal was to bring a little part of my country here. And the best thing you can tell me when you come to my place is like, oh, you feel in France. Yeah. Then I feel that I've done my job.
We are at Amelia's Restaurant, located in Little Italy in the Bronx on Arthur Avenue. My dad and his partner started it about 20 years ago.
And I love to be on Arthur Avenue because it's the place where I can really cook the way I want.
My dad is from Palermo, and our menu consists mostly of Southern Italian cooking.
We have a beautiful dish we call pescatore that is made with shrimps. We have mussels, we have clams, and it gives a nice flavor to the sauce. And it's a good condiment for the linguine that we use. We make our manicotti, we make our gnocchi like the old days by hand.
I think people feel very comfortable because we tend to make them feel at home. I think that the patio is unique to the area.
We have a nice waterfall, nice relaxing.
It's kind of like a little haven in the middle of the Bronx. People come in and they're like, wow, this is kind of cool. Where did this come from? The community is just a fun place to be. There's always something going on. If you come at Christmas time, there's lines to get into the stores because people are buying their meat, they're getting their food, they're gathering with family and friends to celebrate the holidays. If you come in the summer, there's usually feasts going on.
What makes Amelia unique is the neighborhood. We're in an area where we buy everything fresh every day. We can buy the meat, we can buy the fish, we can buy the vegetable every day because we have everything within reach.
People keep coming back, love the food.
Arthur Avenue is a good place, and we're here to stay.
Salud!
Title Brothers is located on Arthur Avenue on East 186th Street. It's been 101 years. My 3 sons are with me in this business. The business was started by my father and my uncle, who were immigrants from Austria. And they rented the store on the corner, which is here now. The landlord at the time told my father that, you know, if people knew that you were Jewish, they would not shop here. So they decided during the 1930s with the stuff that was going on in Europe. They put a Jewish star in the front, and it's been there since. After my father and uncle passed away, it was my brothers and I. Unfortunately, my brothers are no longer here, and my sons decided to come into the business and do what we do now.
We provide all the pizzerias and restaurants with tomatoes, olive oil, cheeses. We bring them in from Sardinia, Sicily, Tuscany, Rome.
My son loves Italy, Eddie, and he makes the deals in Italy, and he meets new people. Come si va? Tutto bene. You name it, we have it. If it's Italian, we have it. Title Brothers supplies things that they cannot get in their neighborhood. 95% is imported items.
The olive oils here are sensational. The olive oil we have from Sardinia is like a Sicilian, a heavy oil with a lot of flavor.
This is edible oil, produced and packed in Lucca, Italy. It's a very good quality oil, perfect for frying, dipping salads.
People come down for the price, they come down for the quality, and they come down for the service.
Take a look around. You could ask some of our customers why they come here.
Their provisions are fabulous. Fresh prosciutto all the time. Fresh Italian cold cuts from pastas, from sauces, to probably one of the best sausage makers in New York City.
These sausages are produced here. It's a production called Alps, a company called Alps. This has got a little fennel in it. It's called a cacciatorini, and this is without fennel. And the super side match up great with the Parmesan and the provolone.
You can find Parmigiano Reggiano, Romano cheese.
We have here a Parmigiano Reggiano, which is probably the number one selling cheese in the world. It's a cow's milk cheese produced in the region of Emilia-Romagna. With antipasto, you want something sharp or mild? Mild. I mean, this is a staple. This is Reggiano. This is the number one selling cheese in the world. The tomatoes here are sensational. We have tomatoes from Salerno, from San Marzano, which is a region by a volcano in Salerno, where the volcanic soil produces a sweeter tomato.
Well, it's fast-paced, high energy. Could be challenging at some times, but we all get along.
We take a lot of time and pride in giving people great products at great prices.
It's fun, and you interact with the customers, which is the best part.
The chemistry is good, the people work together, and we're all basically happy.
Now I appreciate what it really is about. It's about family. I get to see my kids every day. It's a family business. You can call it a mom and pop business, but I think it became a little more than that.
I think what makes Havana Cafe special or different is just our overall environment. It's not just a restaurant.
80% of our guests are return customers, which is wonderful for us. Become a neighborhood gem. This is a restaurant that serves predominantly Cuban dishes.
We have a really well-rounded menu. We have vegetarian, we have vegan options. We also have great sandwiches. Regardless of what you're looking for, we have traditional Latin food, we have traditional Cuban food, but we also have lighter fare. We have a very well-rounded menu, and there's something for everybody.
We have mojitos. Our bartenders are first class.
Our mojitos are hand muddled, every single one. What people should expect when they come here is that they encounter a family-friendly environment.
I think most of all, what I want people to experience and walk away with is a feeling that they walked in somewhere where they were made to feel like they were at home.
The overall ambiance, the overall feel of family and community and comfort and friendliness that they encounter when they come here, it's genuine. And I think people, they sense that.
To me, Latin cuisine is really an emotion. It has a lot to do obviously with good ingredients, but it's about the passion that you put into the food that you do. And that's what we want people to feel when they come here.
So we're a farm-to-table cafe and espresso bar. We opened in June of 2015. We started off more as a coffee shop, and we've really expanded into a full restaurant. We offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We source locally from as many local farms and farm co-ops as we can. Also, all of our dairy and eggs and even flour and other grains are all sourced locally. So our effort is really to bring a high-quality, sustainable food to the Bronx, and we were kind of concerned it wasn't something that had been done here before, but people have really responded and have really, been grateful and appreciative to have such high-quality, healthy options available to them. I think that the sense of community and sort of like there's a face. I live here in the Bronx, a lot of our staff do, and live in the neighborhood, and we really aim to be a community restaurant. Come give Moss a try.
We are 187th Street on the corner of Arthur Avenue, and they call it Little Italy in the Bronx. It's a beautiful neighborhood, all Italian cultures, all Italian stores. We got a deli, we got a butcher's, we got a fish store, pastry shop, everything. When you come here, you feel like you're in Italy. A lot of people think that way. I'm here in New York for 30 years. I came here because my wife, she came in Italy on vacation. She see me, we fell in love, and she bring me here. And I will get married, and I bought this place after 6 years I was here. I knew to make mozzarella in Italy a little bit, but I learned more here, and I went back to Italy to get more lessons about making mozzarella almost like in Italy. And the results is mozzarella here we sell a lot. Means like the recipe is right. What I do make is like is mozzarella, little mozzarella bocconcini. We strip little small pieces and we add every cream. It has to be from Italy, panna. And we make it with squeeze hands like paste, you see? This goes inside the mozzarella, they're called burrata. Making mozzarella relax me. It's like, when you do something and make you relax, this is what it does to me. I'm work and at the same time I enjoy it.
We're in the heart of the Bronx on Arthur Avenue in front of our fish market, which has been here from about 1921, which my grandfather started. The best shopping area in the whole United States. We've been voted as the best. And as any place you go, any of these stores that you go to, the people are friendly, they're helpful, they'll tell you how to cook things, and you get great value, and you can get anything you want on Arthur Avenue. What we try to do here is have the best fish available. If it's not fresh, we don't sell it. My brother goes to the Fulton Market every day about 2 o'clock in the morning to get the freshest fish possible. Most of the fish comes from up and down the East Coast, and we do get a lot of fish now from Europe, from Italy. Fish is very healthy for you. It's light, it's easy to digest, and the salmon, and there's a few other fish too that have a lot of the omega-3 oils, which is very popular too. The reason why people come here is because we have the cleanest fish market around. The fish is super fresh, we're courteous, and we'll clean the fish, we'll take all the bones out, we'll open up clams, we'll skin the eels, we'll prepare the bacala, soak the bacala for you, which makes it a lot easier to cook. We'll do everything, whatever you want on the fish, we'll do for you. We have raw clams and raw oysters, and we have a shrimp cocktail bar here. and they're very popular now. Oysters especially popular, clams too. So you could have clams and oysters while you're waiting for your fish to be cleaned if you want, or just have clams and oysters.
This is the famous Mike's Deli. My father's behind this counter since 1947. I've been behind the counter since I'm 10 years old, so it's a long time. 40 years have passed for me. Mike's Deli is such a special place because it's all about quality. The best quality, the best service, you'll always have the best customer. There's no cutting corners here. People come from all over to come here, so it's very important to always have the best. Some of the specialty items that we make here are homemade fresh mozzarella. We also serve a very special 3-year-old Parmigiano. We also serve prosciutto di Parma that's 2 years old, cured perfectly and sliced thinly. Also our sausages and sobrasada made specialty for us. Our sandwiches are tops. We even made the Trump sandwich. A little of everything all American in it, shoestring French fries to represent his hair. And when you eat it, you know everything like him, it's huge. The changes on Arthur Avenue, even though a lot of Italian Americans have moved out, we're very fortunate because we have Yankee Stadium around the corner, 100 nights a year, see 40 to 50,000 people. We have the Bronx Zoo and the Botanical Garden during June and July that were a little slower. They're very busy. And then we have this amazing university 3 blocks away, Fordham, that houses 9,000 and change students. We just received a special award, Greatest Streets of America, so the neighborhood's doing better. It's an amazing feeling to have such loyal customers. A lot of the customers are shopping before I'm born, some of them. They've been shopping with my father since he just came to America in 1947. So the thought that I could keep up my clientele, I'm very fortunate. And in this day and age, that's unheard of. So I consider myself very lucky because my customers are like friends and family. I think young people in America want to go back and have family meals and enjoy good home cooking. And I think if we could help be a part of that, that would be great.
Well, I got this as a paid internship. Spending my time here, I really enjoyed the people that work here. I enjoy what goes on behind the scenes.
So far, I've learned how to operate a camera, how to host. I learned how to control audio.
My first time hosting was really nerve-wracking, but I really enjoyed it because it was a new experience.